And the topic of mine today is encouraging others within the sanctuary of the Lord, even within and outside, but specifically within the sanctuary. And as I started preparing for this, Psalm 19 verse 14 was what came to me. May these words of my mouth and this meditation of my heart be pleasing in your sight, O Lord, my rock and my redeemer. And I wasn't exactly sure where that message was coming from. And the Spirit of the Lord kept telling me that, the context of this particular verse with the topic has a lot to do with the way we speak, what we think. Because the Bible says that out of the thoughts of a man really comes out the words of his mouth, right? A lot of times we think this particular verse has to do with our relationship with Christ. It does have a lot to do with our relationship with Christ, but in connection with our relationship with others. Because the Bible says in 1 John 4:20, it says, if someone says, I love God, and hates his brother, he is a liar. For the one who does not love his brother, whom he has seen, how can you now say you love God that you haven't seen? So now, if you now go back to that Psalm 19 verse 14, it says, may these words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be pleasing in your sight. If the words of your mouth and what you think towards the next person beside you is not pleasing in the sight of God, how then can you say you've loved that person? And how then can you say you've loved God? And that was where the whole thing was coming from. A lot of times, and I think, a lot of times we as Christians, I'm going to do quote unquote because that whole Christian thing, there's so many definitions for it. A lot of us tend to think we're normal. A lot of us tend to think we're perfect. We come to church. Half of us don't drink, we don't smoke, we don't have tattoos on our bodies. But when somebody else walks through that door and they have either tattoos all over their body or they look different from what we look like, instantly we judge. But then the Bible says that he's not here for those that are well. I'm here for those that are sick. So if we have people like that come through the door, how come we can't show some sort of love? Why can't we encourage them? We automatically judge people by the way they look, by the way they sound, by what they have, by what they don't have. It's a norm it's so common, and sometimes it's unconscious. You do it without even thinking. And I hope that once you do without thinking, you catch yourself and maybe repent right there and then and say, God forgive me, I just judged someone. Because what makes you think you are perfect? What makes you think you're not sick? And I'm not talking about physical sickness here now. I'm talking about the spiritual sickness, the spiritual illness that we all have. What makes you think you're perfect? A lot of times, you see people that they walk around, they look all holy, and do you know who they are? My mom always tells me that you don't know anybody until you stay in the same house with them. You guys wake up and even the person you wake up, even the Bible says that the person you sleep with on the same bed, you don't even know what they're doing. So who are you to judge the next person that comes in? Who am I to judge you? Who am I to judge you? I don't know you. You know what I'm saying? I only know what you show me in the sanctuary. I don't know when I go to work, I'm a totally different person from what you see here. No, it's the truth. We all are. We come in here, we speak our normal way because we understand each other that way. But when we go to work, we change our tongues so they can understand. Am I lying? Yes. When people call you on the phone, hi, my husband does that, and I'm looking at hey? when he's talking to his co-workers on the phone, he's like a totally different person. I'm like, wow. Or wasn't it we're in the car with Olumide, somebody called him, and Olumide was a totally different person. I was like, oh my goodness. But it's the truth. We're not who we are. We don't know. I don't know you. You don't know me personally. So don't judge. We have the words of our mouth, and with that, we tend to use those words to either discourage people or encourage them. You're too fat, you're too skinny, you're too tall, you're too short, you're too this, you're too that. The words of our mouth, even if we're not saying it, what we think in our heart towards that person. It says, let it be pleasing in your sight, O Lord, my rock and my redeemer. It's not what you say to God that matters. Just like the second lesson of today says, what you've done to your neighbor is what you have done to me. And that's how you can show love to people. What you do to the next person beside you is what you've done to me. Somebody in this church came to me the other day and she was telling me that, she just walked out and somebody told her that, she has gained weight. I'm like, you just had a baby. Why would anyone tell you that you gained weight? Why would you say such a thing to someone that just literally had a child? Are you supposed to be encouraging the person on it? Do you know what a woman goes through being pregnant? Do you know the emotional distress they go through if it's their first pregnancy? I know what I went through when I was pregnant my first time. I couldn't believe the changes in my body. The body that I worked so hard for, working out, doing this, doing that, you know? You know, it's the truth. I worked so hard working for that body, and then all of a sudden I got pregnant. But you know the interesting part? Every Sunday when I walk through this church, and I'm going to name that person's name, Mr. Cisse, Sister Vicky, you're so beautiful. On a more serious note, now listen to those words. That is, let's be frank and realistic with ourselves. Sister Vicky, you're so beautiful. Every day I come to church and he says that to me, I feel good about myself. It takes me through the entire week. Words of encouragement. What do you say to the next person that lifts their spirit up? Do I know what that auntie that's sitting down there, what she came to this church for? If you don't welcome her and encourage her and bless her with what God has given you, how is she going to come back again? Even you as a member, if I don't say things that encourage you, if you don't have anything to say, please keep quiet. It's the truth. It's easy. If you don't have nothing to say to lift anybody's spirit, let's be frank and realistic with ourselves. A lot of times we listen to sermons about blessings, about it, but it all starts with us. And I speak for myself as well. Let's encourage one another. Romans 14 verse 19 says, so then let us pursue what makes for peace and for mutual upbuilding. It's all in the Bible. Ephesians 4 verse 29 says, let no corrupting talk come out of your mouth, but only such as is good for building up as fits the occasion, that it may give grace to those who hear. It may give grace to those who hear. If it doesn't uplift anybody, it's going to bring that person's spirit down. And that spirit of that person belongs to God. If that spirit of that person is down, guess what? That spirit will be questioned. And if your name comes up that you were one of the people that made that person down, you're going to be in trouble. That's the way I see it. The people that I give advice to are those that know me. Like my sister, if they want advice, I say, are you sure you really want to hear what I have to say? Are you ready for it? But if I don't know you, and if you don't come to me for it, I'm not going to say a word to you, because I do not want to bring you down. You see what I'm saying? If you know you have the truth, but you know sometimes the truth, they say what? Hurts, right? It does hurt. But if you know that truth, if you don't know that person, and you don't know how they're going to react to that truth, don't say anything. Honestly, don't say anything. I might sound like, because you don't know how it will hurt that person. You're not encouraging that person in any way, shape, or form. I mean, like, let's encourage ourselves. Let's not bring it. If I don't know you, don't bring me down. Don't walk past me and tell me how ugly I look or how beautiful I look. Little things like that, you know, it touches people. My daughter, the other day, she was in the car. We were going to school. I was going to drop them off at school. And then I was at the traffic light, and then I just turned to my left. There was a daycare on my left. And this man had a baby in his hand, and he had a little boy. And I could see how he was struggling. You know, the boy was probably like 2, and the baby was a baby. And he was struggling between the two of them. And I just smiled, and I didn't even look at his struggle. I was just looking at the baby. You know, the baby was just there doing his own thing or her own thing. And then I was like, oh, look at that baby, so beautiful. And then my son would say, oh, and then I said, oh, the baby's so beautiful. I said, oh, you guys were so beautiful when you were babies. I was just, you know, reminiscing and things like that. Then my son was like, oh, do you still think I'm beautiful right now? And I was like, David, you're handsome, you're this, you're that. And my daughter was like, well, Mama, you tell us that all the time. She held on to it. If you bring down kids with words, if you bring down adults with words, it stays with them. Let's encourage each other in the Lord. Even if someone is doing things that, you know, they don't seem like they're capable of doing it. The fact that they took that initiative to do it, encourage them. Someone walks into the door and they have tattoos all over their bodies, or they look different from what you look like. Encourage them. Welcome them. Let's not judge people by what they look like, how they sound, what they have and what they don't have. It's none of your business. The church is not meant for those that are well. If you're well, congratulations. If you're not sick, congratulations. Because it's meant for those that are sick. And we are going to get to that point, and I believe it. people are going to flock through this church that will not look anything like us.
Amen.
They won't look anything like us.
Amen.
And they will need you and I to actually let them stay. It's the words of our mouth, the meditation of our hearts. Once it's pleasing before them, it's pleasing in the sight of God.
Amen.
If it's not pleasing to them, trust me, God is not pleased. It has nothing to do with your offerings. It has nothing to do with your service. It has absolutely nothing to do with that. Because it says, if you don't do this unto the people that you see, then you're not doing it unto me. If you do it unto them, you're doing it unto me. The love for God starts with the love that we have for one another. The love for God. And it's a daily struggle. But I just pray that, once you catch yourself where you're judging someone, immediately ask for forgiveness. Because we're not perfect. We all know that. But once you start thinking you're perfect, that's where you have a problem. Let's encourage one another. Proverbs 27 verse 17 says, iron sharpens iron. One man sharpens another. One man sharpens another. May God bless his word.
Amen.